Could be any animal on this planet, or bird, or whatever. What would you choose? A giraffe. Don't be tall. We have a giraffe. Lila, did you know we have a giraffe? Can I have my giraffe stand up? Look, we have a giraffe. I used to cut meat with a guy at City Market. He was about 6'5". And so when my son was about this big, his name was Pete. And so he was always going like this, looking up at him. We went to a zoo one time and there stood a giraffe and he goes, "Daddy, this is like Pete." And so Pete kind of liked that. Yeah. A bluebird. Oh, that's awesome. That fits your personality. One's a giraffe, another's a bluebird. What else? What kind of an animal would you be?
Sea otter.
A lion. What else?
A sea otter.
A sea otter. Yeah, I like that. Monkey otter. Monkey. That fits his personality. For sure. All right. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and dismiss the kiddos now because I know Nikki has some really cool stuff going for you out there.
I saw the blue. I saw the blue.
You know what's interesting to me is that I love to ask that question, especially to kids. And I've taught so many kids over the years. And one of the things that just amazes me is you always get the giraffes and lions and bears and tigers and things that are just, you know, powerful animals. I always wanted to be an elephant, you know, with the big ears and the big feet and spray all that water out your nose. And kids that want to be gorillas because they can beat their chest and run around with their bare feet and swing through the trees. And of course, half of them are like that, most of those kids. But I have never, in all of the years that I've taught little kids, there's about 25 of them now, I have never had one of them say, "I want to be a sheep. I'd like to be a sheep." And you know what? It's interesting, isn't it? Nations tend to agree with children. For example, for our symbols, we don't have, you know, America, we've chosen the flag, or the stately, elegant, majestic eagle. This is our symbol. The Russian bear, how about him? He's got the, you know, it's power and force, and don't mess with the bear. And then you have Great Britain, the lion. You know, even their English lions, and if you've ever seen them, I've been to a couple of people's houses that were from England, and they have those English lions out on their gates and stuff. But it's always the lion, but never do you see a nation that has a sheep. How would you like that for your national symbol? Yeah, seriously. You wouldn't think it, but God says, "You are my people, the sheep of my pasture," right? And Jesus said, "You are my sheep." He told Peter, "Feed my lambs, feed my sheep." We are sheep. In God's eyes, we're sheep. Why? Why would we be considered sheep? Well, we're going to start a really fun series. I'm not even going to open this because I have no idea who might have put that one there today. But the last time I opened it, I got quite surprised. There was a little girl that was asked, she said, "Hey, would you quote little Sally, would you quote the 23rd Psalm?" Kind of like little Lila, right? "Would you quote the 23rd Psalm?" She said, "Sure." She stood up in front of the class, she gave a perky little bow, and she said, "The Lord is my shepherd, and that's all I want." And she sat down. She got it. That's the point of the whole psalm. Psalms 23, the 23rd Psalm, that's the whole point. Is that if the Lord's your shepherd, that's all you need. That's all you want. So we're going to be doing a series on the 23rd Psalm. And, you know, a lot of times when I say this, if I tell people, well, like, that's going to be, you know, we're going to talk about the 23rd Psalm, the first thing that comes to mind is, yeah, but I already know that psalm. You know, I've heard that one since I was a little kid. But there is some depth here. There is some life-changing stuff in this 23rd Psalm. In fact, I was just almost in tears coming down here this morning, thanking God as I look back at all the ways He has been the shepherd in my life through the dark valleys. Into the green pastures we go, by the still waters, back into the dark valleys, back to the green pastures. The sheepdogs are chasing me, the mercy and goodness are chasing me all the days of my life until I get to the house of the Lord forever. But God has been a shepherd in my life, and I was just thanking Him for that. But this is what and by the way, if you study this and you go read all the books that other people have, almost everybody calls it the shepherd's psalm. It's not the shepherd's psalm. It's the sheep psalm. Now you might remember this picture because this a couple years ago at Easter time. Remember this? I spoke on the 23rd Psalm, and I brought this little lamb in, and of course he peed all over Craig Jackson and brought him in for me. It was awesome. That way his bladder was already gone. I didn't have to worry about it, you know, but I did wrap the towel around him. But remember that little sheepy went sound asleep? The little critter just went sound asleep. And I'll bring another one in. In fact, I've got something else in mind as we're moving through this psalm, so we'll see. But you know, you never know what I might come up with, right? Okay, so let's go next one here. Let's just read this together, and then let's be thinking about some things about this psalm as we go. All right? Let's read it together out loud. You can see it. The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me to paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, when I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's been said of the Bible, and especially like of this psalm, that scholars can come here and wade in so deep and yet never touch the bottom. But little children can come to it and swim and never have a fear of drowning. That is exactly the psalm, the Bible by itself, but it's especially this psalm. So, you know, there's no wonder that we see this read at weddings and at funerals. And it's really unfortunate that you'll see the 23rd Psalm is in almost every funeral pamphlet. It's in every hospital chapel. It's in, you hear it goes from the nursery to the battlefield, right? A lot of soldiers that draw comfort by just saying, the Lord is my shepherd. When the plane is going down, what do they yell? Either the Lord's Prayer, or what we call the disciples' prayers. We did a series on it, remember? To where we are crying out, the Lord is my shepherd. But I want to tell you today that not everybody that says the Lord is my shepherd, really that psalm's not for them. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. You're like, well, wait a minute, the 23rd Psalm's for everybody. No, it's really not. It's really not. And I'll tell you why. And I know this is going to surprise you, but you stay with me, you'll see what I mean. When there's an earthquake, when there's a tragedy, whenever there's a sick child, whatever it is, it's the 23rd Psalm that's being quoted. It's for the fearful, the confused, the anxious, the lonely, the depressed, the jobless. But here's the thing. It is not it's not just for the hurting and the dying. It's for the living. It's full of life. It's about green pastures. You know, we just can't wait to get to the valley of the shadow of death. That's our, now I will tell you that the 23rd Psalm, I believe, is probably one of the greatest 7 wonders of the world, of the literature world. It is a great, beautiful, in fact, if you read it, this is one place where I really like the old King James. Okay? In fact, the old King James even says, the Lord is my shepherd. And the Lord, every letter is capitalized in Lord. And I'll tell you why that is in just a minute. Now, so who's writing this 23rd Psalm? Well, it's David. Now remember, David was a shepherd's boy. He was a shepherd, and then he was a shepherd king. That's what they called him, the shepherd king. Why? Because he learned by watching Dad what a good shepherd is versus a bad shepherd. He was a good shepherd, learning how to tend flocks and tend to them. He knew what it took to take care of his animals. And he knew how dearly he loved each one of them and called them by their names. It's really interesting. If you ever watch one of those old Bedouin shepherds, if you ever watch them, it's amazing. In fact, I got to see this a little bit when I was a kid, because my grandpa there was a day they would have hung him from an oak tree. But he was a big cattleman. He had 4 different ranches. He was a big cattleman and a sheep rancher. Now that would have got him hung at one time in our history, right? But I could watch my grandpa walk into a field. I could yell and scream and holler, and I'm going to be showing you a video, not of grandpa, but a video, not today, but at some point, of how these sheep respond to just that shepherd's voice. You can have 10 people yell out to these sheep. Same thing, whatever the call is. But only when the shepherd stands up and says it, they come and run. It's the coolest thing. And Grandpa, he could walk out into a field, and these sheep would be just bawling their heads off. and he would sing El Shaddai or some song, and when they would hear his voice, it calmed down, and they'd get real quiet. It was the coolest thing. Now, if I sang to them, they'd bawl and stampede. Of course, that happens if I sing anywhere, so everybody stampedes. Okay, so here's the thing. If you want to understand this, if you really want to get a lot out of this song as we go through it, you have to put yourself in, you have to get down on all fours. You have to put on sheep. You have to put on wool and go tromping through the mud puddles and out around the outside where the wolves are at and through the valleys and into the pastures and by the waters. You got to become a sheep. Because that's really what he's saying in this song. He's not saying, the Lord's my shepherd, let me just tell you all, about the sheep. It's looking at the shepherd from the sheep's point of view. Okay? So that's what I want you to do. But I also want you to understand, you are this dearly loved sheep. You are this dearly loved Lamb of God as we go through it. All right? So I'm going to look at a couple things. Here's what I want you to consider this morning is some of the similarities between us and sheep. Now this is kind of interesting. Sheep lack a sense of direction. They're helpless. Absolutely helpless. All right, now let's go ahead and flop the next one here. Now I'll be talking to you about what this is actually called a cast down sheep. When we get to that point where David said, "Oh, why art thou cast down, O my soul?" Right? He was using a shepherd terminology. He was actually talking about a sheep flat on its back. When a sheep gets in this position, bleh, that's all he can do. Bleh, he can't do a thing. He's stuck. He's going to die. In that position, they will die. They can't get up on their own. They have got to be like no other animal. Have you ever been to a circus and saw the well-trained sheep? Come on, let's watch a sheep jump through the hoops. You know what? We're going to have this group of sheep go and jump through the little fiery hoop. Doesn't happen. Eh? Because they're stupid. They really are. Wait a minute now. What are you calling us? Well, we are. I mean, that's why God says we're when it comes to the things that are really important, we're kind of ignorant. Have you ever felt like this? Well, I have, and thank God I have a shepherd that knows how to get me back on my feet. So we'll talk about that. Next week's message will be on how to handle stress. Anybody have any stress in your life? I'm telling you, the 23rd Psalm is so full of practicality. It's not just for funerals. That's what I want us to understand. There should be another one here. There we go. They lack direction, and if they don't have proper direction, they're going to wind up here. You ever wound up here? I have been stuck in the mud. How did I get here? Blah, help! Right? In fact, I used to call my daughter, our daughter Janelle. She would call out for Cynthia. Ma! She sounded like a baby lamb. Ma! Didn't she? Ma! I'm like, listen to her. She sounded like a lamb down there screaming. But anyway, I don't know if you've ever felt this way. This could be you even now. You're like, I've wandered off the trail a little bit, and I am stuck here. Some people are here because they don't have a shepherd. Some people are here because they don't listen to the shepherd and they don't follow his guidance. And so we need a shepherd. We need to follow his guidance. Okay? Let's go to the next one here. There should be and this is again that verse. All we like sheep have gone astray. See, we're prone as sheep, as God's sheep, we are prone to go astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. So the next one, and here's why I tell you about sheep being defenseless. They don't have teeth or claws. They got these spinny little legs. They can't run. You ever hear sheep growl? Hey, little sheep. That'll freak you out, man. That'll freak you out. They don't growl. And so if a wolf is coming into the camp, they don't all go, that'd be nice. Do they pop their claws out like a tiger would? No. Same thing. That's really all they know to do. What are they saying? What are they saying? Lord help! I need my shepherd. Where's my shepherd? That's what you and I need to learn to do, is bleat. Alright, so they're perfectly defenseless. By the way, I was thinking the other day that they're a little bit like my Toyota. I feel that way in my Toyota. I love my Toyota. But the horn, really? Greyhound bud, me. That's all I get. Me. That's all I get. You don't feel like a real man. Me. I'm going to give you one of them air horns. That shocks the people. We can fix that. All right, brother. You wired in for me. I'll use it too. So the only sure protection for sheep is the presence of their shepherd in the Lord's. And with us, God says that you are to be strong in the Lord. So we need our shepherd. Sheep are easily frightened. Oh, well, they were defenseless. You can see when they get on the outskirts out there. All right, so they're easily frightened. I mean, you can stampede a whole flock of sheep. You can just pop a stick, or you can let out a yell, or it doesn't take anything to stampede a whole entire flock of sheep, because they are fearful by nature. They find their comfort only in their shepherd's presence. That's really, and their shepherd's presence. One. They are not loyal to 3 or 4, they're loyal to 1. They understand 1. So, sheep are by nature unclean. Oh, see, look, they go to stampede, but there should be some of them running there too. There you are. I've seen this happen with my grandpa. You know, or we do something, or a horn go off or something, those sheep just stampede, man, they go crazy. And then, there we are. So, they are unclean by nature. You ever see the north end or the south end of the northbound sheep? It's not pretty. Okay? And this thing, now look at this. Look at this picture. I chose this on purpose. Look what they have, but look where they are. They've got this green, lush field. But let's go hang out in the mud today. I wonder why God said we're like sheep. I wonder why He chose sheep to represent the human race. Because this is exactly what we do. This is Hollywood. You know, they got it all, but they tried to wander it out in the mud, right? And we just try to find, where are they going to get any nourishment out here? Now they're wondering, what are they going to do to get out of this? Now look, there's probably one laying on his back out there somewhere in the middle of that mess. They are prone to wander. We'll be talking about the fence crawlers. Let's go to the next one. We'll be talking about fence crawlers. This little sheep is standing in knee-deep grass. And he'll be looking over into a dry pasture. I used to watch this with my grandpa's sheep. I'd say, Grandpa, why do they stay close to the fence like that? Why do they keep looking at, because this guy, there were 2 ranchers. One was horrible. And my grandpa he really looked after his critters. They were fat, they were lush, they had a lot of wool. The other guys were spindly, and their wool was always dirty, and their fields were always patchy and barren. But Grandpa's sheep would be looking into their field like they had something better. Wonder why God chose sheep to represent the human race. Okay, let's go over there. There it is again. And you could be here today actually saying, you know what, that picture's not real funny to me because that's where I feel like I'm at. I feel like I'm stuck in the mud here. Let's go with me. Now this one I chose on purpose because, look at these guys. So long, suckers! We're out of here. These guys, look at the green field they've got. They're like, where are you going? Oh, we're going to get another wife. Oh, we're going to get us a greener pasture. Here's the problem. Even if it's greener, it still has to be mowed and watered, doesn't it? So you jump the fence if you want. But here they are. They don't even realize they're headed off to the slaughter. There they are, wandering away from the fold. And these are the ones that always get hurt. These are the ones. Okay, and then the next one. And this is one that, see, we don't pay attention to this either, do we? It's kind of like, all right, sometimes part of our wandering is that we'll listen to anything. Or we'll let you into our home and give us your false doctrines or whatever. We're not careful. And that's me as an under-shepherd and a sheep. We have to be prepared for this. Okay? And you got to know who these are. So we'll be looking at that as we go through the 23rd Psalm also. Better pastures are not always better pastures. Okay, so real quickly, if I were to title this message today, it would be called The Secret of Satisfaction. All right? The secret of contentment, comfort, peace. What is the secret? Well, I think the secret, God gave us the key to this, and He hung it on the front door. And the front door is the first verse. And I think there you go, there it is. There's the first verse. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. That will be our verse today. Okay? Now, when I did it at Easter time a couple years ago, I just flew right through it. But there's so much more in it that I want us to take our time. And when we come out of this series, I'm hoping that you are just in love with Jesus Christ and God as your shepherd, and you realize I am the Lamb of God. He dearly loves me, and He is caring for me in ways that will blow your mind, and you don't even realize it. So we could attack this in several ways. We could actually look at every word. The Lord is my shepherd. And so I looked at the word the. He is the Lord. Have you ever been? Now, those of you that read through the Bible this year, you look at Jeremiah. Jeremiah was putting a whoop down on him, man. He was putting God was spanking him. Why?
He was a bullfrog?
What was it?
Because he was a bullfrog?
Idol worship, man. The Egyptians had 360 little idols, false gods. 360. That's almost one for every day of the year. And they'd carve these little things out with their hands. And they would pray to them. And they would, this was their thing. You're like, well, that's about as stupid as they come, really. Have you stopped to think about what we hold up as gods sometimes? It could be the person next to you. Who is your shepherd? Who is giving you the direction in your life? Where are you getting your wisdom and your help and your guidance from? Because they were seeking it in all these little false gods, which just boggles my mind. So we can talk about the word the, but then here's this word, Lord, and then capital letters. This is very significant, okay? Lord. In fact, the scribes, it is said that the scribes would be riding along, and when they came to the word Lord, which is Jehovah in the Hebrew, when they would come to that word, they would put their pen down and get a fresh pen because they had such awe and respect for the name of God. And so they would write Lord or Jehovah, all right? Now, why is that so significant to us in this? Because I'm going to give this to you really fast. Check this out. The 7 names of God, right? Jehovah, what? Because he would always conjoin. Now this is so cool. They would conjoin a word to the name of Jehovah because it would give us a new facet of his character. There are 7 different characters in our Heavenly Father, in our Shepherd. Okay? Jehovah Raha. Okay? Jehovah Raha. What does that mean? Jehovah my shepherd. I need somebody, like sheep, I need a guide. I need a helper. I need somebody that's on the job daily. Go ahead and put up that first slide. This is in your bulletin. The next one, Hannah. This is your note for your bulletin because I got 3 points in there for you to fill out. And this is the first one. Number 1, God the sovereign Lord. Okay, now listen to this. Now look, isn't it beautiful? The Lord is my shepherd. There's something very pastoral about that. It wouldn't be the same if it said, the Lord is my mechanic. He keeps me in good repair. The Lord is my physician. He gives me my annual exams. It's not the same. The Lord is my shepherd. It just has something really pastoral about it. Okay? Jehovah Jireh. This is out of Genesis chapter 22. The Lord my provider. Remember the old in Little House on the Prairies? The Lord will provide, Caroline. The Lord will provide. Remember that? I used to was a tearjerker, man. I could never watch an episode without jerking. Michael Adams was really good at that. But the big thing was they would always hurt me. The Lord will provide, Caroline. The Lord will provide. He always did. Jehovah Jireh. God is your provider. Of what? Well, your needs, your life. You take a breath. You need air, don't you? God provides it. You need health to be able to go to work. God provides it. You need wealth to be able to get on in life. God allows you to be able to do it. He is your provider. He provided you with friends, a mate. God provides everything that you need. Now, Jehovah Rapha. Okay, Jehovah Rapha, the Lord heals. He is my healer. Healed from what? Physical ailment? Emotional hurt. Some people might be here today and you've had some emotional beatdown in your life. You have been hurt so bad, and you all know my story as a little kid. Man, I know Jehovah Rapha. He has been the healer of my emotional life. He's been the healer of my spiritual life, the healer of some of you's physical life. Mona, you know Jehovah Rapha. She has been to the healing pools of the Lord. Okay? And then Jehovah Shalom, the Lord our peace. What is it that people are looking for in this life? Peace. I just want a good night's sleep. I can't even sleep because I'm so stressed out and I'm so worried about everything. But He is our peace. So far we have one shepherd who is our peace, our healer, our shepherd, our provider, and now we have Jehovah Shalom, our peace, and then Jehovah Sidkenu. It's actually a really weird spelling on this here. Jehovah Sidkenu is the Lord our righteousness. And we'll talk about that. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Jehovah Shammah, Lord ever present. Aren't you glad? And I'm going to tell you something. Every time I've gone through the dark valleys, or the valley of the shadow of death, every time I've gone through this, which by the way, it doesn't mean death, the shadow of death. It's actually a valley in Israel that is called the Dark Valley. Okay? The shadow, the dark valley, it has shadows all over. I'll show you pictures of it. But when you go through those dark valleys, aren't you glad you have a shepherd that is ever present? He is there. He will be there. He will be there to whisper to you through a friend, through his word. Or in the case of my father, I had felt a hand on my shoulder. And then there is Jehovah Nissi, the Lord our banner. He is our defender. He is our protector. He's the one who is the enemy to your enemies. This is your shepherd. So now see, when David said, the Lord, this God, Jehovah, of all these things, peace, healing, righteousness, provision, protection. He said, an enemy to my enemies, this is my shepherd. He's bragging. This is my shepherd. So it's not like, you know, when I see people read it like he goes, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. And then again, who really cares? I mean, I've seen people read it like this. But it's a brag. The Lord is my shepherd. This is great God. This is my shepherd. It's a brag. It's like, because he knows what it means to be a good shepherd. And so he is my shepherd. Now, and then it says is. Not will be, not was. The Lord was my shepherd. Well, the Lord will be my shepherd. No, he is. He is always there for you. Okay? All right, so let's go to the next picture here. So David is basically saying, this great God who holds it all together, this true God, this powerful God, this is my shepherd. He's not a shepherd. He's not only the shepherd. He's my shepherd. Now I want you to think about this. This God who holds it all in his hands. Go ahead and go to the next one, Hannah. I love this picture. He holds it all in his hands. That's my shepherd. Not the one that's not just some shaggy-headed knothead out on a hillside. This is the God of the universe. All of those things that I just described about God, that is your shepherd. Look, Dad, I know you've got to provide. I know I just lost my job. Great. God is your shepherd. He is your provider. He is Jehovah Jireh. Lord, these children are your responsibility to feed. I'll work, but you need to give me the job. God is your provider. It takes a lot of pressure off of you. But think about this. When you were being knit together in your mother's womb, he was there. Right there. And he knit together and he knew exactly what you were going to be like. He knew what your hopes were going to be, your dreams. He knew what destiny he had picked out for you. And he put it all together. He monitors your blood pressure. He keeps your heart beating by the second. Brain waves operating by the second. He knows your name. He knows every detail. He knows what hurts you. He knows your fears. He knows your hopes and your every tomorrow. This is your shepherd. That's what David's looking at, the bigger God. And he's saying that the Lord, Jehovah, is my shepherd. So when you say, well, we're really going through it. Yeah, but hey, you know what? So what? The Lord is my shepherd. Yeah, but we got to sell this house and the market is tanked out. Yeah, but the Lord is my realtor. Right? The Lord is my shepherd. He'll be the one to sell or help me buy. Well, but I'm really getting sick. I mean, the doctors are saying there's no hope. But the Lord is my healer. Okay? The Lord is my shepherd. All right? Okay, so we could go on into all the different attributes of God, but we won't because I want to give you this second point quickly. God, the good shepherd. All right? And there's several verses here, and I'll give them to you, and I'll just read a couple, but I'll give you the reference here. John 10:11, Jesus said, I am the good shepherd. Well, that means if there is a good shepherd, and he's making it very clear, I am the good shepherd. That must mean there is a bad shepherd. And if the good shepherd, I have no wants, I lack nothing. Now that doesn't just mean, by the way, you'll never hurt financially. You'll never be without work. That's not what that means. But it means I'll have no lack. When the Lord is your shepherd, that's enough. Okay, we'll get to that later. Now I forgot where I was at. Where was I at, brother? The Lord is the good shepherd. That's a test. You did good. I really wasn't lost. I just want to see if you were on top of it. So he is a good shepherd, which means he's a bad shepherd, which means that if God wants us to not live in want, then the devil, who is the bad shepherd and is very real, wants to, and that's why we just went through a series on spiritual warfare. Because he wants to keep us living in want. Even Christians. That's why Christians are always looking over the fence. Because he wants us, and we're prone to do this. Because the bad shepherd wants to keep you living in want and lack in your life. So, and what good is a dead shepherd, by the way? Right? None. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 20 through 21 is a great verse. It says, "Now may the God of peace, who through the blood of the eternal covenant brought back from the dead our Lord Jesus, that great shepherd of the sheep." So you have the good shepherd, the great shepherd, and we have a verse that talks about the chief shepherd. "Equip you with everything good for doing his will, and may he work in us what is well-pleasing in him, through Jesus Christ, to whom be glory forever and amen." And again, Jesus in 10:14 said, "I am the good shepherd. I know my own sheep, and they know me." And we've talked a lot about that around here, about knowing your shepherd's voice. And we're going to talk more about what does that mean. Because when you hear the voice that says, "You're a failure, you are just a piece of trash, and God is mad at you," that is not your shepherd's voice. That is the bad shepherd trying to bring you into fear and condemnation. "Well, I'm a horrible parent." That is condemnation. That is not from God. Now, there's a sorrow that leads to repentance and makes us better, right? But then there's one that leads to guilt. So we need to learn to hear our shepherd's voice. So, who, by the way, is your shepherd? Is it, some people choose their husband can be their shepherd, their wife. How about your pastor? How about your psychologist? Here's the problem with that. They're just sheep. You have a professional psychiatrist, but he's just a sheep. You have a pastor, just a sheep. You can't get help from sheep. And you get help, but that is not the source of your lack or want. I mean, if you don't want to want anything, then you need to trust the great shepherd. And don't forget that people are just sheep. And some people say, "Well, I'd like to come to church a little more often, but it's those hypocrites." Well, the problem with that is the church is a hospital for sinners, isn't it? There's always room for more people. And we all have two people inside of us. And I want you to understand this. People judge the shepherd by the sheep. "Well, I'd like to go to church, but all those hypocrites." So what's keeping people away? Is it because the sheep aren't living like they have a shepherd? If they see you fearful on the job, and angry, and mean, and you're no different than anybody else, and then they say, "Wow, they say they've got a shepherd, but I sure don't see it. And I don't want anything to do with that kind of shepherd." So what happens is we should be conveying the love of the shepherd and the characteristics of him as well. Okay, third point, last one. God, our true satisfaction. God, our true satisfaction. All right? So there's your three things as the Lord being your shepherd. Now I chose this picture because if you remember, he's at the well and he's telling about the water of life. Right? "I am the living water, and he who drinks from me shall never thirst again." The reason why people thirst again is because they don't come to the living water, to the living shepherd, to the shepherd. They go to that psychiatrist for their shepherd. They go to their friends to be their shepherd and their entertainment or whatever it is. They get their guidance and everything else from anything but the true shepherd. Now he says, "I shall not want." Look at this. Check out this picture. I love it. Only Jesus can satisfy. Now, listen, I've tried it all. I've tried both ends of this thing. Okay? And I can tell you for a fact, save yourself the trip. I know Christians, I'm going to try the other side for a while. Really? I've been there. It hurts. Okay? You don't want to go there. Only Jesus can satisfy. And this is a great picture. And that's what he's saying. The Lord is my shepherd. He satisfies. I have no want. I have no lack. He fulfills everything. So it begs the question here. Want what? They don't want another shepherd. I don't need another shepherd because I have the shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. Our basic needs. We are His responsibility. And the contentment. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and throw up that next one there. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that cool? That's a picture of what God wants you and I to be like. Now next week we're talking about stress and how we always deal with stress. It's all in this psalm. The Lord is my shepherd. I am contented. I don't need any more. I don't need more. There's a guy by the name of John Muir, and he was talking to a man by the name of Mr. Harmon. Now, if you remember the old Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, remember? They were, what was the name of that guy? The railroad that kept blowing that train to pieces. Remember that? You know, dynamite there, Butch, you blew the train up. Remember? Well, that was Mr. Harmon of the USS and whatever it was, railroad, because he was a railroad tycoon. He was a financier. He had billions. The guy was loaded. And Mr. Moore, who was a naturalist, he came up and he said, you know, Mr. Harmon, I am richer than you are. He said, you are? How do you figure that? He said, because I have everything I need and everything I want, you don't. He had a contentment. And we live in one of two tents in life, content or discontent. Period. And this is what drives people into things that are so they don't satisfy. And just think about all the stuff that people try to get into or do or cross the line to find satisfaction for a little bit more. I heard a story about a little boy who loved pancakes. And he loved pancakes so much that he's getting kind of a glutton about it. So his mama said, all right, that does it. And she just made him, I mean, he must have eaten 40 pancakes. And this kid was full up like a porter pigeon. And she said, now, Johnny, do you want some more pancakes? He said, no, man, I don't even want the ones I've had. Right? Well, that's the story. That's what we're talking about. We fill up on all this stuff and we don't even want it or need it. And it doesn't really fill us up. Because it's all the wrong stuff. So the devil's in the business of keeping people in want. Keep this in mind that the life expectancy of sheep is in the shepherd. Whether he's a good shepherd or a neglectful and a bad shepherd. What if you took a bird and you put him in the ocean? What if you took a fish and put him in the tree? You'd have an unhappy fish. You'd have an unhappy bird. Why? Because he's not in his element. He was created, that bird was created for the sky. The fish was created for the ocean. And he's out of his element. Well, guess what? You and I were created for God. To have fellowship with God and to have His image. And so here's the thing. If we are, then we're out of our element. And so you can try to find happiness and all that other stuff. You're a fish in a tree. You're a bird in the ocean. Because you're trying to find it in all the wrong stuff. Friends, we are created for God, by God, for God. And we will not have satisfaction and contentment in life until we recognize that and we do something about it. And give our life. That's why only Jesus satisfies. All right? So let me ask you this last question. Is the Lord your shepherd? Do you want to know how to really answer that question? Is the Lord your shepherd? Because I told you that this psalm is not for everybody. Here's why. The way you know if the Lord is your shepherd is you're able to say, the shepherd is my Lord. Can you say, the shepherd is my Lord? I've made him the Lord of my life. I've given my life to Jesus. He has control of everything that I do and say and think. And if the shepherd is my Lord, then I can truly say, the Lord is my shepherd. But there's a lot of people, the Lord's my shepherd. He hasn't been your shepherd all your life. And now, you never came to God's house and you want him to take you to his house. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Now, is his arms open out to the whosoever will? It is. But not everybody can say he's my shepherd until they make the shepherd their Lord. There was a boy that was dying. And his parents, probably an adolescent, probably a teenage boy, and he was dying in his home, and his parents called the pastor. And they said, would you come over and please pray for him? And he's in a coma, and he's kind of in and out of consciousness. And so he went to their house, and he got there, and the boy was getting pretty close to death. And the pastor went up in the room and was there for a couple hours while the parents were downstairs. And then he went home late at night. The next morning, they gave him a call, and they said, hey, Ronnie passed away last night. And so he went over there immediately, and the verses, and to pray for the family, and to weep with them, and to do that. And they said, Pastor, they said, we have a question. They said, last night, as our boy was beginning he was taking his last breath, he reached over and he grabbed his ring finger like this, and he just held on to this hand. He didn't say anything, he just held on to his hand. And they said, we don't, can you explain that? And he got a great big smile. And he said, yes, I can. He said, you see, when I got in the room, he says, I realized that your boy was dying. He said, and so I grabbed his thumb and I said, thee. Because the Lord, we're talking about one of a kind. God is one of a kind. And the only way to salvation. He said, and I took a hold of his index finger. And he said, Lord, because he is the one who wants to meet our every need. And he is our provision of salvation. And he said, and then I grabbed his middle finger and I said, is, because he is here to help you. He is very present while you're hurting and sick. And I grabbed his ring finger and I said, my, because he is your shepherd when you give your life to Jesus. He is your way to heaven. He is the proper way. And then this one, the Lord is my shepherd, because he wants to be your shepherd and guide you home. And they said, and so you see, what he was telling us is that he had made the Lord his shepherd. And so now he shall dwell in the house of the Lord. Father, thank you, Lord. This morning as we just, we think about what a great shepherd you are. And Lord, we just, we are so prone to wander, so prone to get in the mud, so prone to cross the fence. Lord, the songwriter said, prone to wander. Lord, I feel it. Prone to leave the God I love. Yet thou, Lord, hast deigned to seal it with thy spirit from above. And so, Lord, today, I thank you that I am a lamb of God. I am one of your sheep. I'm the black one. I really do. I look out here at my beautiful little white sheep here this morning, and I'm the black one. And I don't say that with false humility. I really feel like that. Lord, you love the black one as much as you love the white ones. It doesn't matter to you what color we are. What matters to you is that we are your sheep and that we can truly call you my shepherd. And Lord, I want to pray right now, if there's anybody here today in this room who has never made the Lord of their life, they can't say the Lord is my shepherd. And Lord, I would ask that before they leave this building today, they would make it right with you. They would come and experience your amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. And that they would just come to the healing waters of this great God who wants to be the shepherd in their life. This would be the day. They'll cross the line all right, but they'll cross it to the green pasture of God, the Good Shepherd. Lord, bless our dear people. Every one of these, the flock that you've given me. Lord, I pray that you would bless them and keep them and protect them. May you make your face to shine upon them. May you be gracious to them and show them your favor. In spirit, soul, and body, in Jesus' name. Amen.